Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very, very special edition of Encrypted Connections. This is EnCryptidMania. This is our tribute to one of our favorite topics, old school wrestling, and how fitting that it is Wrestlemania weekend.
Yes, it is.
I am your host, not Kyle. I am the ultimate cryptid. That's what they call me, the ultimate cryptid. I figured since we were doing this show that, I had to do something a little extra, right?
Right.
Something a little extra. So I, as a tribute to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I said, you know what? I'm going to paint my face. And let me tell you something. I don't know how these guys did it. It is incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult.
It looks good, though. I like it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's awesome.
You can grab him. It's all right. He's being terrible. Maverick's running through the living room. He goes,
Get over here.
Go see your mommy. There you go. He's a menace. We call him Hurricane Maverick. So yeah, WrestleMania weekend, man. I've been watching WrestleMania. I've been watching wrestling since I was 4. Right. I remember the first time. Well, the first memories I have were watching the NWA with my grandparents at their house, right? And I remember sitting on the floor in front of that TV the very first time that I saw Dusty Rhodes. And I was like, whoa, who is this guy? He was dancing around the ring like Muhammad Ali. He was talking all this swag and just had so much charisma, and he moved so good for being a bigger guy.
Oh yeah. And
then him and Flair had a beef back then, and Flair was the ultimate heel. There was no heel better like back then than him.
Oh no.
You hated him. You loved to hate that guy.
Oh yeah, he was the dirtiest fighter there was. Back then, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and he was dirty. He had the Horsemen to back him up. So no matter what, that's right. That's right. And let me just say this, okay? There were many different incarnations of the Horsemen. To me, the 4 Horsemen is Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham, and Ric Flair. To me, that's the 4 Horsemen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know at one point Ole Anderson was there instead of Barry. I know Lex Luger was there instead of Barry. But it was Barry, Tully, Arn, and Rick that was the best 4 of the 4 Horsemen ever.
They're the first ones I remember watching back when I was a kid. And it would have been on, of course, back then, I think it was NWA. It was on TBS.
Yep.
That's
it was NWA World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, that's who I remember, man. I remember George Animal still, and all them guys.
Yeah, It was on, yeah, because they did their shows. It was on. I remember Sunday night,
Mm-hmm.
6:05 Eastern. It always was 5 after the hour
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when they started those shows. But yeah, man, those are my earliest memories of watching the NWA wrestling, and then we watched WWF back then,
Yeah.
WWF, and as much as I loved Flair and I loved Dusty, when I saw these guys that the WWF had, it was all over because
Oh, I know.
they were characters on a different level, man. They
Exactly.
were superheroes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Hulkamania went wild. I mean, when Hulk Hogan come out playing Hulk, that was it. The show was over with. I mean,
Yeah.
he brought.
The whole story about how WrestleMania was really crazy too is that Vince was so I'm sure you know, and most people know, it was all territories
Yeah.
across the United States, and it was all these small territorial wrestling promotions, right? So you had Mid South, you had the WWWF, you had the Crockett Promotions, you had what was the
Wasn't there a Smoky Mountain?
Smoky Mountain? Yep.
Smoky Mountain had their own.
There was what was the one? The Von Erichs. They had theirs down in Texas.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
WCCW, I think is what it was. World Class Championship Wrestling, I think is what that was called. And that was the Von Erichs.
Oh, yeah.
The territorial days, the Von Erichs were massive.
They was huge guys.
Dude, they were so like, I mean, if they were booked somewhere in any territory outside, I mean, even in Texas, obviously that was their home state, but if they were booked in a territory, it was sellout. That was it. Instant sellout.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think of it this way. Who's the biggest? I mean, back then, you'd say the most jacked up guy had to be Hulk Hogan at the beginning. I mean, the muscles, you know what I mean?
Well, Hogan, yeah.
He
was just different, man. He was different because, so he started out in the territories, and Vince stole him basically, like he did with a lot of guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He knew what he was doing. They didn't want him to do it, but he was like, I want to go national. I want to go global. I don't want to do this, piecemeal shit, territorial stuff. No, we want everyone in the world to see what we're doing. And if that means that he had to poach people's talent, then that's what he was going to do. And so, yeah, that's what he did. But he was so smart, man. Vince is such a smart guy, if not ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
But he took Hogan, and he knew he had something special. Here's this giant guy. He was so big. He was so massive. 6'7", 310 pounds, I think, back then. And he had the most charisma of anybody. He knew the psychology of wrestling more than, like, I think anybody. Even to this day, he might be the best psychological wrestler there ever was, because he knew how to play a crowd perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I remember WrestleMania 1 was a big deal because Vince was risking it all. He risked everything. If that didn't work, that his company was over. The WWF was over. He was bankrupt, and that was it. But he took the chance, and the first WrestleMania, I don't know if you remember, but it was Hogan, and it was Hogan versus it was Hogan and Mr. T.
Versus, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right? Was that WrestleMania 1?
I think so.
Hogan and Mr. T versus Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper.
Yeah, Rowdy Roddy. He was one of my favorites.
Oh, that guy, man. That guy. Yeah, Roddy was like the best mouth in wrestling ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
and he was crazy in the ring. He was a nutcase. I mean,
Yeah. If you watch did you ever watch the rivalries on the network?
on Peacock, I haven't. No, I haven't. I've been watching the old WCW.
Okay, so if you ever get a chance, watch the show. It's called Rivalries, and watch the Hogan and Roddy special. It's really good. Bernie's yeah, he's been in negotiations for a while. Apparently, Bernie. It's been kept under wraps, but this has been a rumored thing for a while. Someone said that a while ago he was in talks to sell it to Disney. Then it was NBC. Then it was some other entertainment firm.
I'm 5.
I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a big mistake.
Yeah, I'm afraid if they sell it, it's not going to be what it was.
It could be really bad. The problem is like Vince is he's been doing it for so long that even though I think it's gone downhill a lot,
yeah,
I still think it's better than what most people can do and would do. And Triple H is the best person to run that company.
Yeah, now he's got Shawn Michaels with him again too. Though.
Right,
so.
Right. Two best people to run that company are those two guys.
My two favorite comedians. You ever watch their sketches from the
DX days?
Oh my God, they took TV to where what I mean. It was awesome. I love them, man. That was them.
That was great. But you talk about pushing the envelope.
Oh,
I mean, in the beginning of DX, back in when they first started in the 90s, like 96, 97, these guys were really, really some like crude, Michaels would go out to the ring stuffing his pants. Like they were bad, man. But they were so funny. They had to be then because that was when the Monday Night War started and it was looking like Vince was going to lose everything if they didn't push the envelope.
Yeah, I think it was that way too. I mean, I'm trying to watch the new stuff today and it's hard. I mean, it's not what we grew up on. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
No, it's not the same. It's very different. It's more reality based, whereas what we grew up on was more based on characters,
Yeah.
One of the things Vince would do when he would hire guys, the first thing he would do is he'd bring a guy in and he'd go, what do you do for a living or what talents do you have? And if a guy was like, I'm a garbage man, then he'd be like, yeah, that's it. You're Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And then the guy was a garbage man and is a gimmick. And it was like, so everybody started to learn if you had a crappy job or a really shitty talent, don't tell Vince because he's going to give you a terrible gimmick.
Right. Right.
Hey, Trish, what was the man's name? I'm curious. If you went to Andre's funeral, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what his name is?
That was a big dude.
Has political correctness, cancel culture impacted wrestling? Does McMahon see the writing on the wall? Political correctness, cancel culture has definitely impacted wrestling. Think about what the Attitude Era was from 1996 or 97 to like 2002, 2001. That was the Attitude Era. That was TNA, right? It was highly sexualized. Women were centerpieces in bikinis and lingerie.
Yeah.
There was cursing on TV to a degree. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin would come out and say, it was the first time I ever heard anybody say on wrestling, I'm going to whoop your ass or,
the middle fingers.
Yeah, the middle fingers.
Well, beer drinking.
Exactly. You had the Godfather who would come out talking about 420 and
yeah, he had all the girls with him who would come down with him.
He was a pimp.
Yeah.
He was a pimp, and he'd bring prostitutes to the ring with him. man, it's yes, it's definitely impacted things. I think that Vince for a while was trying to pander to the children again, where it was the PG era for like the previous 10, 15 years that just went by.
Yeah.
And I think he realized, or he got pushed out basically because people were just not watching like they used to. The Attitude Era, the numbers they drew on a nightly basis then were insane. They were insane.
Yeah.
5.5, 5.8, 4.9. I mean, these are huge numbers for a show like wrestling or any show to be, for that matter.
My girls are being loud.
That's all right. Arville Maiden. Yeah. All right. So I wouldn't know him by that name. Arville Maiden is a kind of crazy regular name, never mind the wrestling name. Something like the Hillbillies. Arville Maiden.
I'm trying to look on my phone the comments. I don't get them on this side.
Was he? Hold on. I gotta look this up because I'm wondering if it's somebody I'm thinking of.
Mila.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, I mean the Attitude Era was probably their best selling shows. I'm sure you had it all back then.
They were the best. It was the best. It was the most they ever did. As far as people watching, selling merch, money wise, TV wise, pay-per-view wise. It was the best. It pushed the envelope. You had really edgy comedy. You had violence. It was more violent. So there was blood still, where you don't see them bloody anymore.
No, not like it used to be, especially when Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and them guys. I mean, Dusty would always be cut up.
He had scars all over his forehead, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was crazy, but it got there because of the fact that WCW went head to head with them on Monday nights, and at first it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was because they were like, whoa, okay, these guys are really trying to do something here. And I think McMahon knew right off the bat that they were trying very hard and they were probably going to do whatever they could to compete. But once they signed Hall and Nash from the WWF, and those guys went over, and they basically were pretending as if they were still working for the WWF and invading WCW without actually saying, hey, we work for the WWF, but they'd go in and they'd bust people up. They'd interrupt the show. They'd threaten Eric Bischoff. They'd say, we're taking over WCW. And so nothing like that had ever been done in wrestling. So the fans at home were going, holy shit. Every dream match that we ever wanted is about to come true if the WWF is invading WCW, which means we're going to get to see Hogan Flair, Undertaker Sting, Lex Luger British Bulldog, whatever the case was. That's what everybody was thinking, and they did it so well that Vince McMahon sued him. He ended up suing him.
Yeah, WCW, it was big. I mean, it kind of took over. It kind of took it away from Vince there for a good while. They was doing really well.
Oh, they definitely did.
I watched WCW when they started because it seemed like everybody moved to WCW. Hogan, like you said, and Hall and Nash, and Ric Flair, and
once those guys went over and they started doing really well, that's when you started seeing more and more people jump sides, right?
Right.
And the money was the other thing that Hall and Nash did was Vince's contracts. If you knew anything about the contracts that WWF gave out back then, There was no guaranteed money ever. None. No one got a guarantee. What they got was opportunity. That's what he said. Opportunities. Interrupt the show, bust things up. Are we talking about wrestling or fresh? Oh, that's great. So he gave opportunities is what he said. And basically the only guarantee you had was, I believe it was $1,500 a year was the only guaranteed money that he gave.
Oh, wow.
And he said, based on performance, merchandise sales, and all that, you have a chance to make more. Now, if you wrestled all the time, then you definitely made more than that. But if you got hurt, you were screwed.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
You weren't getting paid.
I mean, these guys had to put out their own money for motels, their food,
back then,
their gas, their travel expenses.
Right, absolutely. So what Hall and Nash ended up doing was they created a much better market for every wrestler out there. They got guaranteed contracts. They got upsides. They got merchandise money went up. They changed the whole business. People were mad at them because they broke kayfabe, which kayfabe is the secret and the secret of wrestling. Kayfabe was the veil, right? If they would say don't break kayfabe, that meant don't break character. Don't tell anyone the secrets. Don't tell anyone this is choreographed. This is fake. No, you didn't do that. But they broke that.
Mm-hmm.
And it pissed people off, man.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but they helped out the talent so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It still is good. Even the new stuff's good. It just ain't the same.
It's not the same, but there's certain guys, it's like anything. There's certain guys that are really good. I was sad to see The Undertaker go a couple years ago.
Oh, me too. He was one of my favorites.
God bless him. He hung around for a very long time. To me, that was the greatest character there ever was.
Oh, I think so too. I think he even outdid Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Honestly. As far as characters go, that there was none better. That was the greatest character, and he was so dedicated to that. For years and years and years, he would in public. He would wear the trench coat. He would wear the hat. He wouldn't talk to people for years.
Yeah. I was watching. He's been going around lately here talking. And he was the Undertaker when he was working. He was the Undertaker.
Daddy, can I? Daddy, can I cook this?
No.
I got this new camera. Erin, my girlfriend, bought me a new webcam for the computer for my birthday.
It's really clear.
It's pretty clear. I don't like how it when I move. Sometimes it changes the light. Weird.
Oh, that's all of them.
Just put them on your headphones and you won't hear the thing.
Check this out. You want to see something scary?
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Yours moves in. It adjusts, huh?
Here is it.
Wow.
Here, you turn here if you turn your headphones on.
So when you have one of those episodes where you have a guest on who's giving an interview and they say something crazy, then you go, yep. But it's awesome. Also, for those of you who are tuned in tonight, I got the blueberry pretzel dessert. She made it today. She just made it. So when this is over, you know where I'm going. Great for the blueberry pretzel. Actually, first I'm going to wash this crap off my face, and then I'm going to go to the blueberry pretzel dessert. This is dedication. That's what this is.
Oh, it is.
This is dedication. dedication.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So I brought those belts.
Oh, yeah.
I'll show you. Okay. So this,
TNT champion.
that's the TNT Championship from the new promotion, AEW.
Wow.
It's a custom. These are all custom belts, the ones that I brought. So the plate, usually the plate, this is painted red, the banner, and then the belt is red leather. This is custom. It's blue leather, white banner, but otherwise it's
Wow. Is that real leather too?
yeah, real leather.
Yeah.
All real leather.
Wow.
That
That's
one,
awesome.
that weighs about 12 pounds, probably 12, 14. This is a very special. This is a fully custom. There is no belt out there like this. Okay, this is fully custom made. I had this made for me because I'm a huge wrestling fan. I was a big fan of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was one of the best heels there ever was. I thought about what the $1 Million Champions belt would look like if it was now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And this is what I came up with.
That is awesome. Holy crap. Oh yeah, definitely. Wow. That is an awesome belt.
Isn't that cool?
It is cool as hell. I even see they put your name on the bottom of it and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Pretty sweet, right?
Right.
Yeah. So this was made by a gentleman in Nevada, right near Las Vegas. We put a bunch of artwork together and went back and forth on ideas. And then this is where we landed with this design. There were some flaws. There's some stuff on it right now that I'm seeing that I'm not too happy with. The stones and stuff, some of them are kind of iffy. Some of them have got to be replaced, which I'm going to do at some point. And I'm going to replace them with cubic zirconias instead.
Yeah.
Because these are just crystals. These are Swarovski, and so the cubic zirconias look way better. They sparkle better. They just look better. But yeah, so this one was specially made.
That's awesome.
Got my own little logo there. Yeah.
That is an awesome belt.
Yeah, that's and if you look, it's the actual belt. The outline is the old Intercontinental title. Is the shape of the IC belt.
Nice.
So that's where the outline came from. Do I display them? Right now, $1 Million Man is only $550K today.
I've seen that.
That's great. Kyle's on my team. Are you a $1 Million Man? What's going on Tuesday? Can you do my makeup, please, Kyle? I'm hoping someone comes to Kyle's door tonight. Who's coming to my door? So he's asking, who will you get something like that made? So there are private belt makers they're all over. There's not a ton of them, but there are guys that make belts privately. It's their passion and it's what they do. Most of the time, they make replicas of the regular championship belts.
I'm listening to you.
They pick up. They make replicas of regular championship belts from the NWA, WCW, WWF, all that stuff. But if you get the right guy and he's really good, then you can get them to make you whatever you want. As long as you can give them artwork to do it. And so that's what we did with that belt. We just I said, I'm thinking $100 bill. I'm thinking dollar signs. I'm thinking, and boom, this is what you get. This next one, and these are the only 3 I brought. I have more, but I didn't bring all of them because it's just a pain. They're so big. Right now, I store them at my parents' house in the basement because it's the best place I can. I just don't have room for shelves and stuff here to put them out.
Yeah.
So this is an actual WWF belt. Okay, this is an actual WWF Championship belt. This is authentic tag team championship. And I had the leather part doctored up a little bit. So the plates are all legit WWF plates from there. The leather I had specially made so that because my favorite tag team of all time was the Legion of Doom. Hawk and Anvil, the Road Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Those dudes were incredible. They were larger than life. They were massive. They wore face paint, spiked shoulder pads. Like they were just, to a kid, that was as cool as it got, man.
Oh, yeah.
And so this belt is to commemorate those 2 guys. So here you go. There's the WWF dual-plated Tag Team Championship. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the leather, it's a brown. It's a burnished, antiqued brown leather. So it's darker on the edges, and it gets lighter as it comes in. I guess they call it a sunburst.
Mm-hmm.
And the title belts they used were black leather, so this is not what they used. Also, if you look, see those spikes?
The spikes, yeah.
The spikes go around the plates, right, to mimic their shoulder pads. The spikes on the shoulder pads.
It's awesome.
Then you also have embossed on both straps animal with the spiders and the spider webs.
Mm-hmm.
And on the opposite one, you have Hawk.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. It looks heavy.
It's very heavy. This is I think this is the heaviest of the 3. I think. Let me see. Yeah. Well, those are close. The TNT is heavy because it's I think it's because the plates are bigger, the side plates.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So I also have the Winged Eagle, which is the belt that Hogan wore for most of his championship run. Bret the Hitman Hart wore it. The Ultimate Warrior wore it. Shawn Michaels wore it. And then Stone Cold wore it. And then that's when it finally changed. This is when Stone Cold became champion.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the most famous design of the World Championship, I think, that there ever was. I have the Universal. So I have the Undisputed Championship, the V2. I have the IC, the Classic Intercontinental Belt, on a white leather strap. And I have the European Championship.
Holy crap. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's my collection. So yeah, I'm a huge fan, man. I've been watching this stuff since I was a kid. Like it's
Yeah.
it's something I fell in love with when I was young, like most of us, but I have a very special connection to it because of my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
who I spent every weekend at her house watching this stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Your grandma got into it, you know.
They loved it. Her and my grandfather loved it. I think
That's,
back then it was different. A lot of older people watched wrestling back then.
mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people did,
Yeah.
especially here in West Virginia. I mean, it's big here, but you know.
I'm just trying to go back through the chat.
Oh, there were some awesome matches back in the day and some awesome wrestlers. Jake the Snake, he was another one that was really good.
Yeah, Jake was great.
You know, I was watching back, you know, way back, and he had a guy in the ring when I can't remember who it was, but he actually had a cobra back then. It wasn't a python.
Yeah, he bit Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, he kept letting it bite him in the arm, you know.
Oh, I'll tell you the whole story. I know the whole story with that behind the scenes story. It's crazy. Hold on one second. I got to use my nose spray. I'm going to turn my camera off because there's nothing you want to watch, but my nose is all plugged up.
I hear you.
So the story with that, hold on. Sorry. And just so you know, because I know someone's going to make some wise ass comment.
Right.
Nose spray, you jerk offs, before you say something. So the story with that was they were in a huge rivalry, him and Randy Savage. Jake had tried to ruin their wedding and attack Elizabeth, and that's when the Cobra came out of one of their wedding gift boxes. Was after their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
They had on a pay-per-view, right? I believe that was WrestleMania 7, I think 7 or 8, I forget. But anyway, so they're in a a heated rivalry, and Jake threatened Elizabeth. Obviously, the Macho Man got mad, went after Jake, and they had this all planned out, obviously, right? Because this is wrestling. Back then, you didn't know that, but now we know.
Yeah.
So here's the story, right? He gets the Cobra. He tells Randy, I'm going to have the Cobra bite you. And, Randy, ooh, brother.
Yeah.
Ooh, brother. Ooh. I don't know about that snake biting me, brother. You got to have it bite you first. And Jake's like, what do you mean, bite me first? I don't trust you, brother, man. Ooh, what if that thing's got venom in it still, brother? Yeah. I don't want it biting me. I'm trying to pull the wool over my eyes, Jake. Yeah. And he was getting all worked up because he thought Jake was lying to him that they didn't get it devenomized. And he was going to let Cobra bite him and kill him. That's how paranoid Randy was.
Yeah.
So he's like, you want me to do this bit? Oh, yeah, you got to have him bite you first, brother. And so Jake's like, all right, I guess. And so he was going to have him bite his hand. And Randy was like, no. You have it bite your thigh, brother. And he's like, why my thigh? He's like, big vein, man. If it's got venom, we'll know right away. Yeah. And so he had him bite him in his thigh. And so the snake bites, Jake backstage. And Jake's telling the story, and he's going, fucking Randy, God damn it. I had to have this
right.
snake. I wasn't supposed to be bit by this stupid thing. So it bites him, gets it off. Jake tries to leave. Randy goes, you ain't going nowhere, man. You're staying here for the next hour so I can make sure nothing funny's going on here. You don't go take some special drink or something, brother, in case you got envenomated. And so he made Jake sit in the locker room with him for the next hour to make sure that he was sick. So finally they go out and shit. They do the match. Well, Jake couldn't get the snake to bite. If you watch in the the match, Jake's smacking it and tapping it on the head. So when it finally bit him, it was so pissed off that it didn't let go.
It was on there. Yeah, I kept biting him.
Yeah, it kept working its fangs back and forth, and they couldn't get it off, man. They couldn't get it off. So
Randy, you can see the mark.
Yeah, man. Randy, after the match, was pissed. He was pissed. He went after Jake. And, you know, this snake was supposed to bite me and let go.
Right.
It was all a big setup the whole time. Oh man, what a great story.
Oh, they could sell. They could sell it back then, man.
Yeah.
They really could. The Macho Man. But you know, they say he was really jealous of her, that he would lock her in the in their room, you know, to get dressed, the dressing room. He would actually lock her in there and take the key with him. Yeah, that's how jealous he was of her.
Yeah, for sure. He was very jealous. He would get pissed when they walked to the ring and people would reach out and try to touch her. He'd get mad. Yeah. Oh, he'd get so mad. She was friends with Linda Hogan, and like she would try to go hang out with Linda, and Randy was like not having any of that. He just, very, very overprotective. Liz was a beautiful. I mean, she was beautiful. Yep, nice country girl. And then what happened to her was just so tragic.
Yeah.
Hooked up with Luger. Luger got her strung out on the pills, the coke, and she overdid it one day and died. Yep.
Yeah.
And he almost went to prison for a long time for that. You know, he got out of it, but I guess maybe karma's something. Because he ended up having that massive, massive stroke that paralyzed him basically after that. And he's still not quite right. But because of that, he found God.
Yeah, I see he's real religious now. He looks terrible. I mean, he's real little, not even close to the size he used to be.
Yeah.
He was a beast when he
Oh, my God.
Holy crap.
One of the greatest bodies in wrestling history. That guy was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
He was ripped. He had not an ounce of fat on him. Yeah.
He's huge. Just like Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious was another big dude.
Yeah.
Huge.
Sid was crazy. Sid was like one of the greatest professional softball players in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Sid Udy, I think it's Udy, Eudy was his name. If you look him up, he was like one of the greatest professional softball players to ever play in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, he stabbed Arn Anderson, right?
No. He stabbed Arn?
Yeah. Yeah, stabbed him in a hotel one night. Yep.
Well, you know, them guys partied like hell back then.
Oh, man.
Oh, I could just imagine. You know what I mean? They was partiers.
Did they ever? Yeah, they partied like crazy, man.
But, you know, a lot of them guys back then was just big country boys. I mean, they was just big, you know.
Yeah. It's a very difficult profession.
Yeah.
You know, people don't understand, just because something is scripted doesn't mean it's fake, right?
No.
The wear and tear that those guys take day in, day out, they work, if you hear them talk about it, especially back then, 330 to 340 days a year they're working. Many of those days they're doing 2 shows a day, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of wear and tear in your body, not to mention constantly driving from town to town, sleeping in shitty hotels. They were doing uppers to get through the match, downers to come down after the match and get some sleep, alcohol and painkillers in between because they hurt so damn bad, and steroids to try to heal from different injuries and to maintain their shape.
Yeah.
It's no wonder so many of the professional wrestlers from the 70s and 80s are died so early.
Yeah. The drug abuse and the steroid abuse, a lot of it.
Yep.
The steroids is a big thing. But
Good
I mean,
evening,
like,
Carson. How are you, buddy?
it's a shame. We've lost a lot of good guys. Man, oh man.
A lot.
A lot of good wrestlers.
Yeah, a ton. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Bernie says wrestling physiques have come a long way over the decades. You know, it's crazy, right? Obviously, when you were little and you saw these big, giant monster superheroes, it was part of what got you interested because it was just they looked like superheroes, and that's as a kid, that's what you want. You want a superhero.
Yeah.
Nowadays, most of these guys are very, they still look great. Don't get me wrong, but 200 pounds, 195, 215, 220. These are very attainable physiques, right?
Yeah.
Naturally. If you put a lot of these guys now next to the guys from back then, holy shit, what a difference.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
you remember the Warlord? You remember that guy?
Yes. I remember.
He was part of the Powers of Pain with the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't know that I've ever seen a bigger man in my entire life. Okay. There's a story that one day the Warlord was in the dressing room, and this is back when they did steroids freely, right? It was open.
Yeah.
People just like, hey, can you give me my shot?
Right.
So he's got this big old syringe. It's loaded with a big cocktail of steroids, and he asks shit. I want to say it was Davy Boy, Davy Boy Smith, the British Bulldog.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can give him a shot. Well, Davy Boy goes to give him a shot, and it all comes. He pumps it in, and it all just pushes right back out. And Davy Boy says, "Hey, you're full. You're full. Your body can't take no more, brother. You're topped off."
Oh my god. He was another good wrestler.
He was great.
He wasn't tall, but man, he was huge, just muscular.
He was great. I love Davy Boy, but I was a Dynamite Kid fan even more. His partner, remember?
Yeah.
Dynamite Kid was short, he was a short guy, about 5'10". Back then, that was short.
Yeah.
But man, was that guy ferocious in the ring. He was balls out all the time, super technical. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, Steiner Brothers, remember them?
Oh God, man.
Oh, I always thought the other, not Rick, the other one, the one with the beard. I thought he was a better wrestler.
Scott.
Yeah.
No, Rick had the beard.
Yeah. Okay, Rick. Rick was a better wrestler to me.
Rick was a better wrestler. You're right. Well, okay, hold on. Let me rewind. Before Scott got injured really bad, I think they were both fairly close. Scott was a little more athletic back in the day. I mean, he invented the Frankensteiner. He was a freak. He was a freak. He was 255 pounds back then, and he was doing, Frankensteiners and Hurricane Ranas and all these things that these little guys did, and he was doing them.
Yeah.
But he got hurt, and after that, he just wasn't the same. But yeah, Rick was great. Rick's son wrestles now. You know that?
No, I did not know that. He
wrestles in NXT. He was the NXT champion for 2 years. He just lost last night.
Really?
His name is Braun Breaker. He looks just like Rick and Scott.
I haven't watched the NXT yet. I just haven't.
I think I like NXT more than the regular stuff.
Well, I mean, look, what was it back then? Rob Van Dam, AEW, right?
Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, before he was in
ECW.
ECW. Yeah. Now them guys was crazy on there. They would do some crazy stuff.
They were insane. Are we talking the Raven, Scott? The Raven, Scott. Are you Frankenstein? She may have something to say about that. You're right. Well, well, there was a wrestler called Raven.
Yeah, I remember him.
He was part of ECW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because remember he come over when Van Dam was there to WWE.
Well, he went to WCW first.
Yeah.
And I personally think they wasted him because I think the character Raven back then was really good.
Yeah.
He had something with that, and he was great in ECW. But they brought him to WCW, and they just wasted it, like they did with a lot of guys. They just didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
They basically put all of their time and effort into Hogan and the NWO. And then they got really lucky with Goldberg.
Yeah, Goldberg was a beast.
He was a monster.
Yeah, huge guy.
I still don't know that I've seen any human being with traps the size of his. His trapezius muscles went from the outside of his shoulders up to his friggin' earlobes, man. They were so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a freak athlete. Freak.
Well, have you seen Triple H here lately? He's not as big as he used to be. Man, he was a beast too in the time. The muscles that go down through here, his was like huge.
His lat spread, yeah, they were huge, yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ, he must be like 4 foot across.
Yeah, he was big. He was really big. I remember when he came back from his quad tear in 2002, and he just blew up. I mean, he was big before, but when he came back, he was insanely just so shredded, and man, he looked great. I think he was like 260, 268, 270 then, which is massive. I mean, it's just massive. And then I think now he's probably somewhere around 250.
Yeah.
You know, I think what happens with a lot of people, you're young, especially back then, big physiques were still the thing, kind of. So they take the steroids, they get really big, helps their career. And then as they get older, they start to realize carrying all this weight, even if it's muscle, is not easy.
No. That's a strict diet constantly and working out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah. It's constant eating. It's constant working out. It's, yeah. And I think, these guys, they decide, I don't want to carry all this extra weight, especially now I'm not wrestling. I don't need to carry it. Let me slim down some where I can feel better and move around a little better and hopefully maybe save my heart. Well, Triple H just had a what do they call those? Bypass. Double bypass not too long ago.
Yeah.
Because he had a blockage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, now I guess he's kind of ahead of everything, ain't he? Pretty much. I mean,
he is. Yeah. I'm glad. I think it's a guy who truly loves the business.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not like McMahon where it doesn't matter to him if you're not the biggest guy in the world. Doesn't matter to him if you're maybe not some of the things McMahon used to do was if you weren't big, you couldn't be a champion. If you weren't if you weren't this size, then we couldn't push you and all that shit. Triple H doesn't do that. He doesn't care if you're old. He doesn't care if you're young. If you have talent, he gives everyone a chance, which I think is really good.
I gotta give kudos to some of these older guys though. Look at John Cena fought last night.
Cena?
Yeah, Cena fought Fury.
Yep.
That was a good match. And tonight, I think, not Chris,
Edge.
Edge. Can you give that guy credit? He is still doing it
Yeah.
just as good as he did back then. I mean, he's a little bit slower now, but you gotta give him kudos. He still plays the game.
Dude, I tell you what, when he came back, I was worried for him because he had such a bad neck injury.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was much like Michaels when Michaels had to retire in '98, and you thought he's never going to wrestle again. And then, you know, Michaels got sober. He started taking care of himself more and realized that he felt great. And his doctor said, "Listen, I don't see why you can't wrestle.
Yeah.
You know, there's always a risk, but at this point, it's not any higher than anybody else. Like, your back is healed." And so Michaels came back, and Michaels was better than he ever was, which is saying something, because Shawn Michaels was Shawn Michaels was the greatest in-ring performer there ever was.
All the way back.
But
it was just the Rockers. It was just,
Yeah, he was the greatest in-ring performer there ever was. That guy was, I mean, he was a hard worker. He knew the psychology. He could do anything in that ring. Anything. Didn't matter what it was. He could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era, man. He was the one to beat, you know.
Yeah. Well, he ushered it in. He was the guy who started the Attitude Era. God, there wasn't anybody who had a bigger attitude than Shawn Michaels back then.
Wasn't it Shawn Michaels the one that come up with the design for Hell in a Cell? I think I heard that somewhere. He was like in on that. You know, the Hell in a Cell where you got the cage in the middle and then you got the doors that open up and let you out.
No. You're talking about the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, the Elimination Chamber, yeah.
No, that was Bischoff. Eric Bischoff
really?
created. Yeah. Yep. Eric Bischoff created that. Yeah. That thing, good God. I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to wrestle in that.
No, even though that chain gives a little bit, it's still going to hurt. I don't care who you are, you know what I mean?
Forget the chain. If you go over those ropes, you're landing on steel grating.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's still grating in there.
No, thank you. No, I'm all set.
Them guys punish themselves. Honestly, they do. I mean.
Oh, God.
I know the new WrestleMania, but last WrestleMania, Stone Cold come back and fought. Kevin Owens? Yeah. That was a mistake.
Well, you know, I think. Hi, buddy. I think he did. I think he did fairly well for being, you know, in his 50s, and it wasn't going to be a technical match. It was going to be a brawl. I mean, we knew that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I felt bad for KO.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, agreed.
Them guys haven't wrestled the old guys like that. They, you know. Now you do know that Steven Seagal's daughter, by Kelly LeBrock, just finished her training up at Dusty Rhodes' wrestling camp.
No, for real?
For real.
How'd you find that out?
It was on Google. You know, you look through the thing. I have all the wrestling stuff comes up.
Really?
Yeah, she used to be a model, and now she's going to be a wrestler, I guess.
What's her name?
Ariana, I think. Seagal or LeBrock. She don't carry her dad's name. She carries her mom's name, LeBrock.
I'm gonna have to check her out. That's pretty crazy.
I mean, she's a bigger girl. I mean, she's no slouch. She's pretty decent size. She was a model.
Huh.
And she just finished Dusty Rhodes' wrestling school.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I would say they're going to probably bring her in, you know, just because of the name.
I think my makeup's crooked. But yeah, I mean, they may. We'll see. She may go. You know, she can go to NXT and kind of work her way up, like a lot of these people do, and then If they don't really get over on the main roster, then they end up going back and wrestling for NXT. I think, I'll tell you what, if you get a chance to watch NXT, I'd watch some. Especially watch Braun Breaker. If you watch, he's a beast, man. He wrestles so much like his dad. It's insane. It's like watching Rick Steiner when he was a young wrestler with the headgear on.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the Michigan varsity jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching them back then. He's a spitting image, man. He's nasty. So I would say watch that. Then I would say go back and watch some of the older matches with KO, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor. When those guys were in NXT, they had some of the greatest matches. I'm telling you, Bayley and Sasha Banks had one of the most amazing matches I've ever seen in my life when they were next takeover in Brooklyn. Good God, one of the greatest matches, men or women. It was amazing.
Well, man, the women are really good now. I mean, their matches are way better than what they used to be.
They're not eye candy anymore. I mean, they're still beautiful, but these women wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, they wrestle.
Well, last night it was Trish Stratus.
Yep.
Lita. And Becca, whatever you want to call her. Yeah.
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Becky Lynch, yeah. And I'm telling you what, Lita still looks good, and Trish Stratus still looks good for their age. Still in shape.
They look great.
And you know, Lita's jumping off the ropes last night like it was nothing.
Yeah, she was one of the first. She was one of the first women to her and Trish, I think, were
about the same time, yeah.
They were probably the two that really were like real wrestlers for female. Yeah. They were the first two. China.
Yeah.
China was amazing. That's another very sad story. China was amazing. She had a very tough life, lots of trauma, and unfortunately she had a tragic passing, but she was absolutely incredible.
She was a hell of a technical wrestler, too.
She was. You're absolutely right.
She really was.
And she wrestled men.
Yeah. And did good.
She was the Intercontinental Champion at one point.
Yeah. Did she beat Jeff Jarrett or something?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I never liked him. I was never a Jeff.
Nobody does. And the other one that he's a good wrestler is the oh shit. Same error. I know it just like I'm sitting here what his name is. Played in a rock band. Shoot, what was his name?
Played in a rock band.
Yeah, he actually did one of the big shows. He come out and sung heavy metal.
Same era?
Yeah, same era. Oh, he's still wrestling today, I think.
Are you talking about Jericho?
Yeah, Chris Jericho. Oh, man, that dude used to get on my nerves so bad.
Oh, I like Jericho. I think he's great. But he wasn't that era. So Jeff's a little older, but they did wrestle.
Yeah.
I think they wrestled
together, yeah.
At the same time. Jericho was young, Jeff was a little older, but Jericho's still going strong, dude. Not just wrestling, he's still wrestling great matches.
Where's he wrestling at now?
AEW.
Yeah. Is Sting still wrestling? I thought I heard he was still in it.
He's still wrestling in AEW also.
Oh my gosh, he's going to have to go check that out because he's got to be old now.
He is. He only wrestles part-time, but, when he does, it's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
They got some great talent over there. They really do. I'll tell you, some really smaller guys, but this one kid, he's really young, and that's who Sting is hooked up with, this kid Darby Allin. He's got to weigh 165 pounds. I mean, he's small, but man, he's good, dude. He's good.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I've been trying to get into the new stuff. They
also got, what's his name? he used to be Dean Ambrose with the Shield in WWE.
Uh huh.
He left and went there. His name's John Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestles over there. They have probably, if not the best technical wrestler in the world who works for them, a guy by the name of Kenny Omega.
Uh huh.
This
I'm gonna
guy,
go check it out.
oh, this guy is he's one of the greatest technical wrestlers on the planet, if not the best. I'm praying when his contract is up that he goes to WWE. They also have the greatest heel in wrestling today. MJF is the best thing in wrestling, period, that's going on today. This guy is a fucking genius. He's an asshole. He doesn't break character. So listen to this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is great. So there's a wrestling convention. MJF's there signing autographs. This little girl comes up, and he wears a Burberry scarf, right? His whole thing is he's better than you, and you know it. That's his shtick.
Yeah.
So he wears this Burberry scarf everywhere he goes. And this girl comes into the convention, and she's got the scarf on. And when he sees her with her dad, he says something to her like, I suppose you want an autograph too, you little shit. And she's like, yeah, I want an autograph. And she's like, but I don't like you. And he's like, then why are you wearing my scarf? And she's like, your scarf's a piece of crap, and nobody likes it, and it looks stupid on you. And he was like, how old are you? And she's like, 10. He goes, are you aware that your dad made the biggest mistake of his life 10 years ago?
Oh my God.
She says something to him, and he goes, she said something, and he said something back, and she said, I wouldn't spend money to buy tickets to see you or something. And she said that would be a mistake. And he goes, yeah, well, if your dad had spent a little money on a condom 10 years ago, he wouldn't be in the position he's in right now. And now give me this stupid picture and get the fuck out of here. To this 10-year-old girl. And the dad, being a wrestling fan, knows that, he's in character, and he's loving every bit of it. Like, he's like, this is the greatest thing ever, because this guy's, not breaking character. He's brutal, but he's so damn good at it. He's funny as shit, man. He's the greatest heel in wrestling right now. Better than Roman.
Really?
Yeah, you got to watch him, dude. And his contract's up at the end of this year. So
maybe he'll get moved over then.
If they're smart, they'll sweep that dude right up.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he could come to the WWE and be the MJF that he is there, because he's
they make that up. Yeah, and they own that, I guess, right?
Well, no, not even that. I mean, his name is, I believe his real name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, so they can't take that from him. Yeah. I mean, he won't be able to be the same character because he's so edgy. And WWE only lets you go so far nowadays.
That's the problem, though. That's why it's not being watched like it used to be.
Agreed.
Even back in the day, it might not have been the custom, but if it wasn't for Dusty Rhodes when they're talking the way he talked, and Ric Flair, him and Ric Flair could throw down some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You remember Ric Flair's his promos were some of the greatest things ever. He talking about his $1,000 Gator shoes that cost more than your house.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
The Rolex wearing, snakeskin wearing, limousine driving, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. And then he'd call him. This is one of the greatest things ever too. He would call himself Space Mountain, and they'd say, "Why Space Mountain?" And he'd go, "It may be the oldest ride in the park, but it's still got the longest line."
Hey, he's still at it. He don't wrestle no more, but he's got his own program. That's
oh yeah,
good. Yeah, a talk show.
His daughter's a hell of a wrestler.
Yes, yeah, she was.
Charlotte.
Yeah,
Charlotte's a hell of a wrestler. She's a incredible natural athlete.
yeah. But
Yep.
she's getting up there in age.
Well, she's been around a bit. I don't think she's that old though.
Yeah,
She's maybe in her 30s, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Just watching WrestleMania's on right now.
oh, is it?
Lesnar and that big giant.
Osmo. Oh, Osmos. Yeah,
Yeah,
that dude's huge.
he's huge, dude.
But Brock Lesnar's going to whoop him.
I think he just did.
Brock is a beast. Even I don't know if you've seen the interview. Well, you've watched the Undertaker's interview, and he said Brock Lesnar is one of the dudes that don't play no games. He's for real. You know what I mean? He's not a jokey type of guy at all. He's like straight out. You know.
No, he well, you want to talk about real deal badass, right?
Uh huh.
He is a 2-time Division I NCAA wrestling champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which puts you in very elite company. He decided he was going to be a professional wrestler. He does that, becomes the youngest heavyweight champion in history at that point, right? I think he was 22 or 23 or some shit like that, 24. Leaves the WWE, says, I want to fight in the UFC. I want to be a real mixed martial artist. Had never trained mixed martial arts in his life. Trained mixed martial arts for 2 years. Has one fight or 2 fights, then fights in the UFC, loses his first fight, almost won it, but lost it by submission, wins the next fight handily, beats the shit out of Frank Mir, or Heath Herring, I forget who it was. I think it was Frank Mir rematch, or maybe whatever. Then fights one more guy, then fights Randy Couture for the heavyweight title, and then wins the heavyweight title. In 5 fights, in 5 MMA fights, he was the UFC champion.
Wow.
I mean, that's freak shit.
Mm-hmm.
That is freak shit athletics on a totally different level, man.
Yeah, and he, like I said, he's athletic as hell, and he's so big.
Dude, 290 pounds, 6'4", 290 pounds, and he moves like he weighs 170.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he moves quick.
So fast. Yep. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I remember watching him come into the UFC, and I at first was like, there's no way this guy is going to be able to compete. Even though I knew his wrestling pedigree, I thought with only 2 years of MMA training against these guys who've been doing it their whole lives, I said, there's just no way he's going to be able to do it. I watched his first match, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I remember sitting there going, holy shit, this guy is the real deal. And he's only been doing this for 2 years. If he had been doing that for his whole life, I don't think he would have ever lost a fight.
Nah. He's a big dude.
No.
He's just got this freaking, he's a beast. Like, he'll head straight into it.
Yeah, I've never seen a double leg takedown shot as fast as Lesnar, and he's 300 pounds. That's just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, The Undertaker, he was a hell of a fighter, too. A hell of a wrestler.
Yeah.
I was watching WCW Halloween Havoc, and Stunning Steve Austin. Remember before he was Stone Cold?
Hollywood Blondes, man.
Yeah, the Hollywood Blondes. He had the hair, over faded.
Absolutely, I remember the Hollywood Blondes. They were great. Him and Brian Pillman.
Yeah, that dude was a hell of a wrestler too, and
He sure was, man.
Yeah, and just threw it away,
Another very sad story.
Yeah, there's a lot of them like that.
Yeah, very sad story. Yep, he was He was incredible, and then he got really badly hurt in a motorcycle accident, messed his leg up. Was supposed to come to the WWE and have a second chance, but just that didn't pan out because of that accident, and he was injured so damn much. And that whole Heart Foundation thing, where they reformed the Heart Foundation at the end of Brett's time with the WWE. It would have been great, but he couldn't wrestle anymore. He was too banged up.
Yeah.
Too banged up.
Yeah, a lot of them guys, pretty crippled up now.
Yep.
From all the spills and falls they took.
Yep. Sad.
Oh, it is. Well, hey, you remember Marty Jannetty? He was a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah, him and Sean, the Rockers.
Yeah.
They were my favorite tag team for a while back then when I was a kid. And I'll still never forget the day they split up. I'll never forget it. That skit where Sean kicked him and then threw him through the window on the barbershop.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Threw him face first through a glass window on the barbershop. Oh, I remember the Valiant Brothers. Absolutely.
Valiant Brothers. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I got one for you. The Fabulous Freebirds.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Jam Garvin and Michael P.S. Hayes.
Michael P.S. Hayes, yeah.
Man,
I remember watching him when I was a kid. They was, yeah.
Oh, they were great. But I remember the Valiant Brothers. Bernie was talking about Bruno Sammartino earlier. Bruno was.
Yeah.
How long did he hold that title for? 10 years or some shit?
That was a long time.
Very, very long time. And then he had a falling out with WWF and Vince.
Oh my God, why is
You remember Tito Sanchez? He was a hell of a wrestler.
Santana? Tito Santana?
Yeah.
Yep. I remember him. Yeah.
Rick Rude.
Oh, buddy. One of my favorites. One of my
Yeah.
absolute favorites. Ravishing Rick Rude. I got the T-shirt. I don't have it on, but I have a Rick Rude T-shirt. Yep.
He had an awesome gimmick there, honestly.
Yeah, he was great.
He was
what
really
I'd like
good.
to have right now is for all you fat, out of shape, redneck, sweat hogs, shut your mouths and turn the noise down so I can take my robe off and show your ladies what a real man looks like. Hit
Right.
them, and then he'd take the robe off and do the hip swivel.
Jake the Snake said he was one of the hardest workout guys there was. He was religious about workouts and stuff.
He was a arm wrestling champion too. You know that, right?
Yeah. They said you couldn't grab a hold of his forearm or you couldn't get your hand around it.
Oh, I'm sure
his forearms were so big.
That guy was ripped.
And a hell of a wrestler.
He was also very, very, very tough in real life. Very tough. Nobody in the locker room fucked with Rick Rude.
No, because he knocked you the fuck out.
there were certain guys that have this air about them that these stories followed them forever, right? So Rick was known as a tough guy. He was a man's man. You didn't mess with Rick Rude. Hawk and Animal. You didn't mess with those guys.
No,
they were bouncers at one of the hardest clubs in Chicago. They'd seen some shit, man. They'd beaten people up. They were some of the stiffest guys in the ring.
You're probably asking why
You didn't mess with the Steiners. The Steiners were legit Division I world champion wrestlers out of Michigan. These guys were badass for real in real life. They were badass. You didn't mess with those dudes.
Right.
You didn't mess with Kurt Angle, another one, an Olympic gold medal. He won it with a broken neck. With a fucking broken neck.
Wow.
Dude. But the guy that everyone agrees with as the toughest guy that there ever was in wrestling was Haku or Ming. He went by
Yeah.
both names. They said that he was the baddest of the bad. There was nobody tougher. They said I've heard stories that he one time bit a man's finger off in a bar fight. In a bar fight, bit a man's finger off. Like he fought off 4 police officers in a hotel one night.
Wow.
Fought them off. They went there to arrest these guys because they were getting loud and rowdy at the bar. When the cops came, Ming beat the shit out of 4 cops, and the cops were so embarrassed that they decided not to arrest them as long as they didn't tell them what even happened. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in with oh shit. What was that manager? Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had him as the king one time. He's fought under a bunch of different names.
Yeah, he was. He was the king of the ring. He was King Haku. Then he went to WCW. He was Ming, and he was part of the Dungeon of Doom. Yeah.
Yeah, he was been in a lot of places. Remember Bruiser Brody?
Oh yeah.
That dude was an animal.
Yeah, he was great.
Ended up
Another
getting,
wicked sad story.
yeah, got stabbed down. What was it? Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico.
They was down there fighting and got stabbed.
Yep, and they covered it all up. Nobody ever got in trouble for that.
Right.
Puerto Rican police and government covered it up.
Well, I noticed after Wrestlemania, they're going to go to Puerto Rico and fight again.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. They must have just finally decided to start letting them wrestle down there again.
Yeah, must have been some reason they weren't going there.
Yeah.
Killer Kowalski, Killer Kowalski his school is here in Connecticut. That's where Triple H trained at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you're right in the middle of it. I mean, that's WWE country right there. I mean, ain't that where Connecticut's right there? I mean,
it's 50 minutes for me.
Wow.
Yep. I remember driving by it as a kid and seeing the big WWF sign on top of the building from the highway. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, there were some good wrestlers. I think my all-time favorite is Shawn Michaels, though.
Yeah, Shawn's definitely, he's up there. He's one of my absolute favorites. Yeah.
Just for the matches that he's been in.
Yeah, he was great, man. It's very hard to find a Shawn Michaels match that wasn't so good and entertaining. It's hard to pick a favorite, you know. I think I have a few who I consider my favorites, but it's hard for me to say one person over the rest because I like different people for different reasons. Like I'm a huge Stone Cold fan. I love Stone Cold.
Oh, everybody loves Stone Cold.
Shawn Michaels obviously is one of the greatest in-ring performers. Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm a huge Bret fan. I'm a huge Ric Flair fan. I'm a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. I'm a huge Ricky Steamboat fan.
Yeah, I watched him fight last night. It was a pretty good match.
Shit, man. Ricky Steamboat, they're one of the most underrated guys there ever was. If you ask Ric Flair will tell you that Ricky Steamboat was the greatest person he's ever been in the ring with.
Yeah.
Ever. And that's saying something.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Ricky the Steamboat was one of the first guys to jump. Well, I mean, besides Superfly, Snuka, but Ricky was the one jumping off of the thing, doing all that crazy stuff off of the top rope.
Yeah.
And then I think it finally caught on.
Right. But back then it wasn't a big thing.
Nah.
But yeah, man, I love all those guys. The Undertaker, obviously, one of my absolute favorite. It's just hard to pick. It's hard to pick one.
Oh yeah, I always liked Triple H.
Trips was great.
Even Hulk Hogan. I mean, we was kids.
Yeah, Yeah,
Eat your
Hogan.
vitamins, you know.
Hard not to love that guy when you were a kid. Hard not to love him. I can't stay on too much longer, so I'm going to ask you a question. Do you have a favorite match? Is there a match of that sticks out in your head more than any other match ever?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say The Undertaker versus Mick Foley when he threw him through the top of the ring, or through the up on top of the cage, threw him through it, and I mean, there was a hole in the mat.
He had already gone off the top of the cage through the announcer's table.
Yeah.
And then he got, so when he choke slammed him on the top of the cage, that wasn't supposed to break,
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't supposed to go through.
No.
It was on accident.
Yeah.
So he fell and he was knocked out cold.
Undertaker said he tried to honestly talk him out of doing that. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he lied to Vince. Vince said to him before the match, he goes, "Please don't do anything too crazy." And he said, "Okay, I won't do anything too crazy," but obviously lied and did something crazy.
Well, didn't Undertaker threw off, what was that other big dude's name? Used to sit on people's faces and rub his ass all over their face. You know what I'm talking
Rikishi.
about. Yeah, he threw Rikishi off into the back of that truck.
Yeah. Yep.
And he said he couldn't even look. He said when he threw him over and then Foley, he said he couldn't even look because
Foley was great. I love Mick. I think he's one of my favorites too for different reasons. Mick was one of those guys who wasn't supposed to be a wrestler because he didn't have the body, he didn't have the looks, he wasn't the most technical guy in the world. But gosh darn it, Mick Foley was all heart. He had such a giant heart, man. That guy was so tough, and he was willing to give everything to the fans. Yeah, he was great, and he's such a nice guy. He's like one of the nicest human beings you'll ever come across. They say, like, just a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah.
Bernie says my most memorable match when I was a kid was when Spiros Arion turned heel on Chief Jay Strongbow during a tag team match. That's how I learned the true meaning of betrayal. Oh, wow! All right, Chief Jay Strongbow.
Yeah, I remember him wrestling.
I don't remember Spiros. I don't remember that guy.
No, I don't remember him, but I remember
Chief Jay Strongbow.
I used to love the midget wrestling. I used to love that shit.
Yeah. I only remember watching a few matches. I didn't see too many of those when I was a kid. I think they were kind of phasing it out at that point.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older, not much older, but I remember watching them wrestle. It was always good.
Yeah, it was just another gimmick,
Yeah.
A gimmick that they did. But so for me, my favorite match, it's not the greatest match ever. It's not the best technical match. It's not the most bloody match. It's none of those things. But for me, it's my favorite match ever for a couple reasons. Number one, it was on my birthday. It was on my 10th birthday is when it happened.
Uh-huh.
It was my absolute two favorite wrestlers growing up. And I never thought it would happen. I never thought you'd see these two guys fight each other because it just didn't happen like that back then.
Mm-hmm.
But it was WrestleMania 6, and it was the Undertaker, or the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, title for title. And that was the best for me. It still is. I watch that match a couple times a year because it just has such sentimental value to me. I think it was the last WrestleMania that my grandmother was alive for too. She passed away the very next year. And so, it's just a special match for me. That's why I did this tonight.
Right.
Because of that match. And WrestleMania every year is either on the weekend of my birthday or on my birthday. Every year.
Right.
Every year. So it landed on my birthday yesterday. Now it's 2 days. There used to be one night, but now it's 2 nights. There's 2 separate nights of WrestleMania because they have so many matches. But yeah, so every year it's a tradition that I watch. It's a tradition that I watch WrestleMania every year, and part of that is kind of a tribute to my grandmother. And
Right.
that match was, it was very special for me. Yep. Bernie says Spiros doesn't deserve to be remembered, bastard. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
I don't remember him at all. Yeah. I'll have to check him out. Now I want to know who he is.
Right.
Well, listen, this has been wicked fun.
It has been.
We should do this, maybe like once a month or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, there weren't a whole lot of people watching because our channel's not about wrestling.
Right.
So our subscriber base doesn't really know. Most people aren't really into this stuff, but we should. What I was thinking is maybe we could take a match, pick a match or a rivalry or something,
and break it down
once a month and break it down from beginning to end.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. We'll have it. We'll do it once a month. We'll do it on. Like the last Sunday of the month.
Yeah, that's cool. Sounds good to me.
All right, awesome, man. Awesome.
Because we never even got to talk about a lot of the wrestlers, you know.
There's so much.
There's so many of them.
There's so much. Yeah, we could talk for days and days and days, and only cover a portion of this shit.
Right.
But I gotta wash this crap off my face because it's really bothering me right now. You know what's crazy? You know wrestlers? I looked this up because when I was a kid, I used to dress up as the Ultimate Warrior or Hawk and Animal for Halloween, and it was always that stupid grease paint, and you could never get it off. You'd scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub, and it just wouldn't come off. And so I looked it up, and I was like, how do these guys get their paint to just peel off their face? They use acrylic paint. It's not face paint. It's not meant for faces.
I didn't know that.
It's acrylic paint. Yeah. And that's
because you notice it would peel off like Sting when he would get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what this is. This is acrylic paint. So I'm praying to God that it'll peel. I hope. I hope it will, because if not, I'm in for a heap of shit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You didn't get it too close to the beard, did you?
No, I didn't get too close to the beard. No, not too bad.
I think you did a good job.
Oh, I messed up a little bit, man. Around the eyes was difficult. What happened was I was trying to do different colors around the eyes, and I got it in my eye. And so we were 5 minutes before 7, and I'm like, rubbing my eye, and then it rubs the paint all off. And I'm like, oh shit! So I'm in the mirror trying to do it over again. It was a mess, man. It looked before, and then I had to try to fix the stuff on the outside, and it looked better before. So if I ever do it again, I think it'll be better. But whatever, you live and you learn. It was a little thing for tonight, and whatever.
Yeah, you should have said something to me. I'd have painted my face. Put something on her.
Only 8 people saw it anyway, so
it'll get out there. I shared it on my page, so and there was a couple people that was interested in them. So,
dude,
I'm surprised Al wasn't on here because he's been talking about wrestling.
Dude, did you do that thing? Did you?
No, because I'm not. I'm still using the free right now, and it won't let me use the. You got to buy it first, to stream it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
But
Well,
that's all big. I shared it out. I'll share it out again later this week again.
Oh, okay. All right.
People will go and watch it.
It's crazy, man. I that whole free shit paying for this, like, man, it's such a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Every month, I all of a sudden I see that $50 deduction and I'm like, mother effer.
Yeah. Right.
It's just ridiculous, man. And then, so the other thing, so somebody sends me a super sticker last night, Lady Wolf. God bless her.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
And people don't know that YouTube snatches half of it.
It's
If you
ridiculous.
ever send a super chat or one of those stickers to me on the YouTube channel, YouTube
Yeah.
half that money. And people don't know that.
That's ridiculous.
So they think they're giving you this money, and then all of a sudden you're only getting half of it. YouTube's taking half. I think if people knew that, they'd probably be pissed and they wouldn't send it through there. That's why I told them, like, listen,
PayPal's the way to go. I mean,
if you're going to donate, that's the best way to go, because then the creator gets all of it, right?
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it can go. Then that money can go back into the channel, 100%. Through YouTube, they're snatching it right off the rip. They're taking 50%. Those greedy bastards.
Oh, it is. It's a money racket.
You know how much money they make off of people like us on YouTube? Even people who aren't getting a ton of views and subscribers. If you add all of us up,
that's
it's
a lot.
Shit ton. A shit ton. Yep. And they still take that money. Just dirty.
Oh no, it's ridiculous.
Dirty, man.
Well, we ain't in this to make money anyway.
No, absolutely not. You know, if we were, we wouldn't be doing big shit. That's
right. That's for sure.
No, but the point is that the money that we do make, the money that people do give us, I want them to understand where it's going. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? So then at least they have an educated choice.
Yeah, YouTube should put a little thing up, a disclaimer saying, hey, we take half of what you give, you know.
They should, yeah.
Straight off the top.
Yep, they should.
It's ridiculous.
Yep, it's insane, man. It's insane. But listen, I'm going to go. I got to get this off my face. I need a drink. I'm so parched right now. I got cotton mouth like a mother.
I hear you.
And then I'm going to go watch Wrestlemania.
I am too. I see Drew McIntyre's coming on now. So
that's what it looks like. Yes, sir.
He's one of the newer guys I like.
Yeah, he's good, man. But thank you. This is great, man. This has been so much fun. And my mother, I saw her today, and she said, "Oh, that Country Boy Cryptid seems like such a sweet man." I said, "He's a gem, Ma. He's a good guy."
How'd you guys like Cabela's yesterday? I've never been there yet.
Dude, it's amazing.
I got a Bass Pro right above the house here, a couple miles away. I just ain't been in there. I can't walk around, so you know.
Oh, dude, it's insane. It's insane. It's so damn big, and there's just all these animals, and it was crazy. My mom and me walked in. I walk over to like one place with her, and I'm looking around the store, seeing all this stuff. She turns around, and I was gone. I just was gone. I'm off. I'm like, whoa, look at all this stuff. She calls my phone. She's like, where are you?
Well, it's probably like you was a kid again.
Yeah, it was. I'm like, right now I'm by a grizzly bear. After this, I'm going upstairs to the guns.
Right?
Yeah, I was like a kid, man.
Did they have the FLIR and all that stuff out? I didn't know did you look at any of it?
They had a couple FLIRs there. Yep. I didn't get to look at them. I spent most of my time looking at the taxidermy stuff because it was just so cool. And then at the gun counter, because I wanted to get a new sight for my gun, but they didn't have what I was looking for. But yeah, I spent a lot of time at the gun counter. They have quite a collection of guns there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good collection. Yeah, they had some pretty decent prices on the guns. Everything else was too damn expensive, but the guns weren't bad. They they had a 45 ACP there. I think it was like $6.99 maybe. which is pretty cheap.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they had like Glock 17 was $4.99.
That's not bad.
No,
Not bad at all.
no, not at all. Yeah, there were some decent prices on the guns, man. I was looking at a Walther they had there that was really nice, and then uh, I was really thinking about getting something a little more compact than what I got right now, something that's easier to carry, like a 38 maybe,
Yeah.
or like they have those subcompact 40 cals. You ever see those?
Yeah.
Those little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of those, but not right now. I don't have the money for that right now, but it's somewhere down the line. I think I'd like to get one because the 17 is a big gun. It's not small.
No, it's just big. You want something like one of them Taurus 856 or something. It's 357.
Yep.
They're small. I mean, it's still big, but it's not too big.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. But like I was even looking at the SIG, the P320.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Beautiful gun, man.
yeah.
Beautiful gun. Oh God, it's just so nice. But,
I had one of them shields. They wasn't too bad because it's
yeah,
thin. They're not bad. I had it in a 45, and surprisingly, the kick wasn't too bad with it.
Yeah, my buddy has one. Yeah, he said the same thing. Yeah.
No, I shot the. Oh shoot! It's not Smith and Wesson. It's the other Springfield. The little Springfield 45.
Yeah.
I could barely keep a hold of it. It jumped so much.
Really?
Yeah, it was just too. Where Smith and Wesson, it didn't kick like that. You know what I mean? It didn't get that big bounce off of.
Yeah. I really would at some point love to get myself a 1911.
Oh yeah, that's everybody wants one of them.
Oh God, are they just the most beautiful thing you ever seen?
I had one and I love shooting it.
It's just
awesome.
Such an amazing handgun. Those things are just.
I want one, but I want one in a 10 millimeter.
Yeah.
Instead of the 45.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because 10's a little bit better, especially in the woods.
Yeah.
It will stop a bear.
Right.
Anything like that. Which.
Why don't you get yourself one of those 50 cals?
Oh, that's too much. Things are big.
Jesus Lord, man.
Look at 500 Smith and Wesson.
Yeah.
See people shooting it and it flies out of their hand.
I remember I watched one dude. He shot it and he's holding it with one hand like a dummy. He pulls it and it goes like this, comes back and goes wham, smacks him in the forehead, busts his head wide open and knocks him on his ass. I was like, whoa, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever shoot one of those.
I used to shoot for. Dad had a 44 mag. I used to shoot it all the time. And believe it or not, after you shoot it for a while, your wrist will start hurting.
Oh, I bet.
Just from 44 mag,
I bet.
Oh, there you go. Bernie said a Glock. I think that's a Model 20. I think that's the model, 10 millimeter.
Model 20?
I think it's like 15 shot. Model 40 or Model 20. I forget now.
What are your gun laws where you live? Do you have a 10 round magazine capacity?
Nah. No, and we're allowed open carry. We're your constitutional carry here, so we don't have to go to class.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah. So's Vermont. So's I think New Hampshire.
Now, how's your guys' gun laws? They strict?
Yeah, they suck.
They're like Massachusetts, and they have real.
We're only allowed 10 shot clips.
Shit,
they're abysmal. They're awful.
My 9 millimeter
holds the worst in America, I believe.
18 plus 1 in the chamber. So.
That's what you got?
Yeah, I got a Canik, a Canuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say it. Yeah, really good gun. Awesome.
Damn. Yeah, the gun laws suck here. Mass is the worst though. They're worse than us. And the cost for Massachusetts license is outrageous. Outrageous.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the woods without a gun. I don't care.
No,
there's too much other. I'm not worried about Bigfoot. I'm worried about
Yeah, about mountain lions,
bears.
Yeah,
coyotes for that. matter, you know.
Yeah, right. You don't know.
A,
Yeah,
a rabied raccoon, even one. I mean,
yeah, I won't either. I won't either. I may or may not have accidentally, illegally carried in Massachusetts last week.
that was an awesome show you guys did.
Oh, dude, it was so much fun, man. Wait till you see what's coming at the end of the month.
Awesome.
So it's already got a name. Alex named it the Vermont Bigfoot Search Team.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's about 10 of us going.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome.
Up to this location in Ascutney Mountain in Vermont. 3 days we're camping, and we're searching this area that's heavy in activity.
Mm-hmm.
Alex has got some pretty crazy ideas, since there's so many of us, of things that we can do.
Yeah.
To try to really get some shit going on. So we're going to have a meeting soon about, what we're going to be doing, who's going to be doing what. We like these ideas, and share each other's ideas and stuff, and go from there. But it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, where you guys was at, that reminded me. It reminded me a lot of West Virginia, where you guys was at this past week.
Yeah,
where you and Alex and Brian went. It kind of reminded me of that, like down in the mountains area.
people have said that. I've heard people say that about a couple different places. I've heard West Virginia. Somebody said North Carolina once.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in like where the Salmon River is, somebody was like, "That looks like North Carolina." That looks like, I go fishing in that river every weekend. I think it's surprising that some of these places up here, that like, I've even been to, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm in Connecticut right now, like it doesn't seem like this is what would be in Connecticut. But I'll tell you right now, that Freetown State Forest is one really, really dark, weird, scary place.
Yeah, that cliff, you guys was at, that was weird looking, and all them pentagon, or the pentagraphs painted on the rocks.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Weird. Even scarier, I think, was when we were driving down Coppercut Road, and it's in the middle of the forest. There's a sign that tells you, beware, the road is terrible. It's awful. The road's awful. It's big, giant dips, potholes, water, rocks. And then the sign also says there's no service for miles, right? No cell service.
That's weird.
So we're driving down this road. No cell service. There's been multiple murders there, right?
Oh wow!
And we smell something dead. And immediately you think, I hope it's not a person. I hope it's a deer, not a person that I'm smelling. But yeah,
you better get midnight. She's chewing on your cord.
It's a creepy place.
Yeah. Yeah, we still gotta do the Dudleytown thing too.
Yeah, we do.
I gotta get you on there to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Yeah. That's a weird place, man. So here's I'm trying to set up a interview with Ed and Lorraine Warren's son-in-law, who runs their music. It's in Connecticut.
Seriously, that's gonna be awesome.
We've already talked. And he's up for doing the interview. When we do it, I'm going to drive to him and interview him in person at the museum.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Where the Annabelle doll is.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's something else we're trying to get ironed out. He's got some traveling and conventions and stuff he's got to do. And then we're going to, get a date, set in stone, and then I'll be going out there.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up probably end up wearing, 500 crosses,
Ellie, don't listen to her.
bathing in holy water for a week. Maybe bringing my own priest with me because that doll scares the shit out of me.
Get you some of them crystals and some of that, sage.
I got, look at this right here. So I bought these bracelets for each of us, me, Alex, and Brian, for going out in the woods. It's all crystals. And each stone is supposed to expel negative, dark energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought these for us for going out into Freetown. But yeah, isn't the Conjuring House in Connecticut? The Conjuring House is in Rhode Island. Haunting in Connecticut, but they're all kind of related to each other, if that makes sense. There's the Warrens had something to do with all of those, like the Conjuring, Haunting Connecticut, all that shit. They were there for all of it. But yeah, that doll, really bad. I'll tell you the story about the doll this week on the show. When I talked to him and he explained everything to me, what they do to keep that doll sealed and safe is absolutely insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
That
anyway,
sounds awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited. But yeah, let me get out of here. I got a cat that I gotta go feed outside, or he's gonna take off and not get fed for the night. This was great, man. We'll do this again. End of the month, last Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Guys, I'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday with Bettina Moss, 7 p.m. But
Awesome. You got Bettina coming on. That's
yeah,
cool.
she's coming on. Yeah, man, it's gonna be great.
I think I got Jody Cook. Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Just came by to check out House Paint Job. That's great. Thank you. So Thursday, but you'll see me before then because I'll do my morning walk probably tomorrow with Maverick, and we'll check in.
Okay.
Thanks for doing this, brother. I had a blast.
Oh, I did too. Awesome. Always awesome.
Yeah, man. Enjoy your night, and we'll catch up this week. All right.
Okie dokie. Will do.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, later.
Later.